Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Nicktalksurvivor. My name is Nick. I'm here with my dad, Greg, again. And today we have our very first special celebrity guest, the still 19 years old, self-proclaimed most athletic man to ever play Survivor, the potential Survivor Season 50 winner, Survivor 43's very own Sami Layadi. Thank you for joining the
Yes,
podcast.
sir. Hey, bro, that was a great intro. I might need you to just follow me around and just introduce me as people as that.
Yeah, I tried really
We're
hard on
awesome
that
hype
one.
man.
Yeah.
Right.
I tried hard on that one. All right, well, today we're just going to talk a little bit about Survivor 47, the previous episode, episode 12, and let's just jump right into it. Um, at the beginning, we see Teeny and Rachel having a conversation, and it gets a little heated. Um, Teeny is asking Genevieve pretty much like, "Are you gonna vote for me if I vote you out?" And Genevieve's like, "No, I think Rachel would get my vote." So I don't really know why Tina is pushing so hard to put Genevieve on the jury if she's not going to get a vote. I thought that was weird. Like, Teeny's jury management seems to not be the best at this moment. I don't know what y'all thought about that.
I would say it's interesting, I think something that's interesting to be noted is whenever you have somebody in the game with you that you know for a fact isn't on your side, and especially in this case, you know they're not gonna vote for you to win, it gets harder and harder to share a small island with them.
Mm,
So it just gets easier and easier to want to get rid of them. So I think that where Teeny's coming from is literally just like she just sees. I mean, because at the end of the day, whether she is gonna vote for her out, like when she's out of the game or not, doesn't matter because she's in the game and she's against her. When you're in
yeah,
the game and you have like a snake, it's like if you had a snake in your house, but it wasn't poisonous, right? But it can still bite you. So it's like you're gonna want to get rid of the snake. Like you don't want to keep it in the house. Like I think that's kind of what how teens feel about it.
yeah. How do you deal with someone that you like really don't like? Like that would seem to be so difficult. Like, how do you put up with someone that you know is against you? Or like a better question would be, what do you do if you know someone has said your name? Like how does a conversation go with them? I'm curious.
Nick, how old are you?
18.
Okay. Do you want to start a mission?
Yeah.
Okay, sick. Um, Greg, Greg, I don't know if you start like it doesn't really matter if you start a mission or not. I actually personally didn't
I
start a
did.
mission, but like I only bring that up to say like you just ask like how do you deal with somebody. Listen, bro, you do that every day. Like you just like you do it every day in life. Like you do it every single day. Like I'm sure like Nick, there's probably people at BYU that you met that you like can't really stand. Like
Mhm.
Greg, like whether it was on a mission or like in work, you probably see people every single day that you like just have to put up with them. Like you either work like you have to put up with them. Like you have to be cordial, even though the very thought of spending more than an hour of that with them might like may make your blood boil. Honestly, in this case of Survivor, it's no different than like real life. You have to go about everything in a way that's super sincere, super authentic, and I would say like when you know somebody say your name. Me personally, I think some people handle it differently. Some people like decide to confront, to go up and like talk about it. I don't think that's a good move ever. I don't think that's
Mm.
ever a good move because what do people do when they are confronted with like their like wrongdoings? Man, they put that guard up, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, super defensive.
They get real defensive. They're like a turtle, like poking his head back in the shell. They get really defensive, and so I think the best thing to do, like in this case, like this situation, um, that I like, I mean, it's a little bit different, but like with Teeny and Genevieve in this situation, the best thing to do is be fake nice. Just be fake
Mm.
nice, bro.
Yep.
And like it's hard for some people to be that way. Some people are just very blunt and abrupt, and I appreciate that about people. But I don't think that's a smart way to play Survivor because you never during the game, I think, want to let somebody know they're in trouble. Once you do
Yeah.
that, alarms start to go off, things start to get really funky.
So that's when you just have to start pretty much lying to each other's faces about strategy.
Listen, bro, the name of the game is to lie.
Yeah.
That's why I did it. At least I thought that was like the most fun part. And so, like, you got to get. I mean, you better get rolling. Like people start crying about lying and stuff. Like Genevieve was talking about like how hard it's been for her to, bro. Work is harder. Not having $1 million is harder.
Yeah.
Like this is what has to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
That's a good
that's
point.
that's why I was super surprised when Teeny's reaction was like, "Oh, you're threatening me." Like, where's that coming from, right? Like, all she said was, "I think I'd vote for somebody else." I think basically she's trying to raise Rachel's threat level by saying, "If Rachel's still here, I'm going to vote for her." I think
Yeah,
her point was to show, oh
Yeah.
yeah, Rachel's your threat, not me. Let's vote out Rachel. But instead, Teeny takes it as you're threatening me, and I didn't understand where she was coming from with that.
good point. That you put because I actually didn't think about. I didn't even consider or remember really that Genevieve's like on the bottom right now, right? Like Genevieve's on the bottom with Sam right now, and so it. I think that just really speaks to when your name gets put out, all logic goes completely out the window. Like
Mm,
you start freaking out because you're so good, you're cruising, you're coasting, you're trying to play this perfect game where nobody writes your name down until you can't. And then all of a sudden it's like ish hits the fan and you're like, bro, once you feel that pressure on you, that like it could be you, dude, there's nothing like that, dude. Like it, your dream just hangs in the balance and it's really scary for people. So I I didn't hate what Genevieve did. I thought it was actually like I thought it was pretty smart because what I don't like is when people know that they're in a bad position in the game, but they just play it safe and tell people what they want to hear. Because then if you get voted out, like Genevieve very well could have, and you're on your way out the door, then you didn't really leave a mark.
yeah.
This was the same part, right? You seventh place, right? Isn't this the spot where
Yeah,
you
this is the
right?
best. This is the best player. The best players go out right here.
The severalth player, right? So
Yeah, but yeah,
Several player left.
now
my brother
you
Zelensky,
you knew
he
what
didn't
was
quite
going
make it
on,
to
right?
seven.
You knew what was going on. That's right. You played your shot in the dark at this point, right? And
Yeah,
so,
I played my shot in the dark. Right, I'm the latest person to play the shot in the dark, like the latest in the game.
uh-huh.
Um, I I'm trying to like in this situation, I really commend and respect that that wasn't really on the table for everybody. Because like that's an interesting dynamic of like the shot in the dark. It sucks to like even think about having to play that because dude, you just that's all you have. Like
Yeah.
even if you're in a position where you're getting voted out, like I was, you still have something, right? Like which is your vote. You still have something, which is your vote. Like your vote can mean a lot of different ways. But when you're giving that up, it really sucks because it's like, bro, like I don't have any power. Like I'm powerless. And so in this situation, I was actually surprised that was not like an option at all for Sam or for Genevieve. It took a lot of trust
Right.
and like make sure that that was not going to be a problem.
Yeah, well, if you remember, they gave it up like 2 episodes ago.
I'm going to be
For
honest.
Rice.
This is the first episode I've watched in a while, so I did not know that. Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible.
So they
They
gave it
gave
up
it
for
up.
Rice.
How
Like
do they give? What are they for? What?
for Rice. Jeff
Oh,
wanted,
nice.
yeah, he wanted people to sit out. But they instead, I think Kyle came forward and was like, what if everyone gives you the our shots in the dark? And Jeff was like, yeah, that's cool. And so I think that's what added to this episode was that no one had their shot in the dark. So it really came down
Yeah,
to kind of what felt like old school, like it's it's strategy against strategy. Survivor is what this vote felt like to me.
I would say it was really interesting too to see the dynamic of. I always find it really interesting the bigger group of players, just like which I understand this. I get it. It's 5-2. Like in your minds, it's 5-2. Why would you overthink it? But I always find it interesting when they do all these like split votes and play it like they do all these things where it's like essentially playing it safe or like playing by the book, I would say. and it's like so funny to me that this keeps happening in Survivor because it never works out that way in the end. It never works out. And what I'm getting at here is Sue, Rachel, Caroline, Teeny, and Andy, right? That big group of five. The other four, there's no way that they thought like we could just easily split this and we're chilling. Like that cannot keep happening. Like that cannot keep happening with people. I think splitting the vote is so dumb, and I hate when people do that. I hate when people do that, and
Really?
so I'm so glad that this worked out this way. I'm so glad it did because it was like this is like a perfect like middle finger to the people that try to just like easily slide through with the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just came down to being comfortable, especially from Rachel. I think had she not had the immunity necklace around her neck, she would have played
Bro,
something.
yeah.
There would have
How
been a
could you
block
not? How
vote,
could you not be
idle.
comfortable, right? Like, how could you not be comfortable if you're in her shoes?
Yeah.
Like, I get it, but it's like that's why Andy's gonna win Survivor 47. I mean, bro, like just like it is like that's why he's gonna win, dude, because
I
this
like
guy's
it.
doing the uncomfortable. He's putting himself in the uncomfortable positions. He's putting himself in the position that I mean, that's the way I play the game. At least I try to go back and forth. He's doing it masterfully. He's doing it
Mhm.
great. I think that the way that you like really gain people's respect is by giving them a chance. That's how you gain the respect of some players, right? You gave them a chance because very often you can feel like you didn't even get a chance to like really be in the game. Andy just got himself, in my opinion. It depends on how. I mean, it depends on how everything else shakes out and the way that these players are, right? I think he earned Sam and Genevieve's vote genuinely. I think he actually earned their
I
votes.
agree.
Sure.
I mean, like, and it was all at the expense of what? A great move. They
Yeah.
got Caroline out the game. Like, a great move. Like, what? Well, how can like this is a win-win situation?
Yeah. So are we starting to see like the rise of Andy? Because throughout the season, I've been saying,
We've been seeing it, bro. We've been seeing it.
but the thing is, we've been getting little hints of people saying they don't respect Andy. They're not seeing Andy. Is this him finally coming out of the shadows? Is this good timing for him to finally like start his come up? Or is this again just he's the one that drove the big move? Now he's the next threat up. Or do you think because I think there's a world where they still don't respect Andy. Sam and Genevieve go out, Andy, I don't know what happens, but
That's exactly
it
how I
just
feel. I feel like um even though okay, in the new era, right? The main target is always whoever made the last big move, right? Whoever became the biggest threat, now they're the biggest target, right? But this
Yeah.
is the first time where I feel like okay, he just orchestrated the biggest move. I just don't feel like they're gonna target him. I don't feel like he's got that respect. I don't know. Will he earn the jury votes, right? Because isn't it still just a popular? Is it, Sammy? Isn't it just a popularity vote in the end, or is it really? Do people really play by? Oh, this person was the most strategic, or is it really? This is the person I like the most.
That's a
I think
great
that
question because like that's something that's not talked about. We all like I'm gonna be honest, like it's exactly what you think it is. Like I believe it comes down to like less of I mean so in my season, Jesse he crossed cut everybody's throats, crossed everybody, right? But he ultimately would have won the game in the end. And
yeah,
like that was like that he played the game the best way. I I think a bigger part of that though for him specifically too is the way that he was able to pull on our hearts, right? And so at the end of the day, I do think it weighs a lot heavier on the popularity side of things, a lot heavier on the conversations that you have with these people, the way that you got to know them. Things like, did they try to keep me in the game? Did they kick me when I was down? Like, like like I remember I had like strong conviction to vote for Carla in my season to win the
mhm.
game because when I was down and out, she was the only one that would like talk to me. And so um, I think it does come down to a lot of like the popularity part of things. But I agree with you, Greg. And considering I really do not feel that Andy's in a lot of trouble here. I don't feel this way because I think that he just gained himself two allies in a 3-3 split situation. And I think that there's a lot of good players here, like Rachel and Teeny. that are open and can see, right, that going to Sam and Genevieve and spreading that Andy is like a biggest threat to win the game, things like that, like doing that kind of thing, would be stupid on their part. They would just get voted out. Like it's too fresh. It's too early in the game. When we get down to five, that's true early in the game. Funny that I say that. Like I mean, like a day later, right? Like when we get down to five, that's when people start to really think about their own stock, right? That's when people start to really think about their own opportunities to win the game. And I think we're in an interesting position here where Andy has really just wedged himself right in the middle between two parties that honestly have a like really I don't see anybody not having a great chance of winning right now, except for I don't know if Sam or Sue can pull up enough votes at the end. But I mean, I would say for the most part, it really does come down to who was the most likable and who was somebody that treated people with the most respect throughout the game. And that doesn't always mean that they played the best game, but like, does it? I mean, at the same time, it very well might, because the social part of it is the biggest part of it. And some people are not gifted in that regard. I mean, not everybody can treat everybody with respect as they're crushing their dreams.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. That's a really interesting like viewpoint coming from someone who like was on the jury. I feel like a lot of the podcasts I've listened to this week, they've really tried to get everything from previous players that were on the jury to get into the mind of a juror. Like, what are they looking at this point in the game? So I'm glad that you cleared up at least your
Yeah.
viewpoint
Well, listen,
on
bro.
it.
People, I hate to like make it sound less cool than it is, but I really don't think people go in undecided that often. I really don't think that's the case. I believe. I mean, people, and that's what makes this game so interesting. Is like the best players that people think like people that are good in challenges, like like Kyle, like they think these are like great players, and like I'm not saying Kyle's not a great player, like these are good, like, but I'm the players that are the best players are the people that like can make it. I mean, this is point blank period obvious. Is the people that can make it to the end of the game, not coasting to the end of the game, and receive a vote or two to win the game. Like, because it's the way that you treat people throughout the game, off the cameras, right? Off the big moves,
Mm.
strategy, all this stuff that plays the biggest role in whether you will win the game or not. Got back to Ponderosa. How were they talking about you?
Mhm.
Like that, that's all we talk about. That's all you have to talk about. You cannot, the only rule is that you cannot lobby for other people to vote. You cannot say, hey, listen, we all need to vote for this person. Like, for like, but you're more than allowed to be like, I'm voting for this person. This is why. And if
Mm,
you, bro, let me tell y'all, that's all that happens over there. That is all that goes down. That is
really?
all. That's all that
Fascinating.
happens.
Man, I wish we had the Ponderosa video still, but okay, so here's where I'm worried though, because a couple of weeks, I don't even know how many weeks ago, when they did the schoolyard pick, and Jeff announces the schoolyard pick, and then it breaks away and it's happened off screen, right? But supposedly in that schoolyard pick, Andy was picked last. And so it just makes me wonder, right? Like, and that was when there were still, I don't even know, 10 people left in the game, something like that. So how many people really like him? Or can they still develop that affection for him? Like, is it not too late for him?
I
Yeah.
don't think it's ever too late to start getting the respect of people. The problem that he faces right now is the way he started this game. The way he
Hmm.
started the game was absolutely just. I don't even really have a word for it. I mean, it was blasphemous. It was just pure blasphemy. I've never seen anything like that. I never seen somebody actively that hard try to get themselves out of the game. Like, it was so bad. And like, the reason I say that's a problem, because for me as a viewer, that's cool. I'd love to see the story of how he's progressed and how he's grown. But what we have to remember here, guys, is that we've seen him progress and grow over the course of 11 weeks. On the island, they've seen him grow and progress over the course of 2 or 3. Like,
Mm,
if that. I mean, it's it's not the same. It doesn't hit the same. It doesn't hit as hard. People don't really like hold that much weight to that. They
Hmm.
could very possibly still see Andy as the scared little puppy that didn't want to be here in the first place, and they're like was whining about they don't like me, and I'm not giving him my vote because he was like whether they want to admit it or not, like that he played better than them. It's like, oh nah, he was scared throughout the game. Like
Yeah.
like that is something that I do worry about as well with Andy, as opposed to somebody with like Rachel, right? Who could really say anything bad about her? I mean, who could really say anything bad about her? Like the way she's gone about everything that she's done, been very smooth, very calm, very collected. She's a very likable personality. She's winning challenges. She seems to be in the know every time something goes on, except last episode. And like, it just seems as if she's in a really power position. So wouldn't it be something if she doesn't make it to the end of the game? I mean, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's my point. Is like I don't see how Rachel, Genevieve, or Teeny, like one of the three, just has to go. Because I think Genevieve actually has a really good shot to win the game too if she makes it to the end.
Yeah.
I really do. One of
That's
those
why
three go, it's interesting.
that's why I actually think it wasn't terrible for Rachel to be out of this vote. Like to win immunity and be out of this vote and not be in the know might have actually been good for her because I think her stock was like starting to rise a little bit. And now she kind of gets hidden by this big move. And the thing is, she has a block a vote and an idol to play in the next two votes. Those will be huge. Those will raise her threat. I think she
They're
plays.
gonna get played too. I mean, they're gonna get played.
Yeah,
They're like
definitely.
there's no reason they won't get played.
So I don't think it's an issue of whether Rachel will have enough respect. It's is her threat going to be too big that she doesn't make it there? I would argue up to this point, Rachel might have some of the best like threat management um, that we've seen in a minute uh, because she's been scraping by and she's been in all of it. Like you're saying, she looks like a big threat. No one can say anything bad about her, but yet they aren't really saying her name and they won't
Well,
be able to because she has advantages.
Well, and the person who had originally talked about voting Rachel out the most was Caroline. Remember, Caroline's, oh, no, Rachel's this big threat. She's the biggest threat. We've got to get her out. But interestingly enough, in her exit interview, she was saying how over time she became so much closer to Rachel that she realized that she was a good strategist, right? She was somebody that she could work with, and so working with her was more important than voting her out, which is
And
kind of
I was
interesting.
gonna say like I would bet my house that I don't own on uh Caroline voting for Rachel to win the game. When something like this happens, when something like this happens, like what happened, um, not everybody is able to be like put it to the side, be like, yo, Andy is the one that got me out, so I'm gonna vote for him to win. Nah, nah, you go back, you lean back on the people that were there with you, the people that didn't do this to you, and so I think that what Rachel has done is so impressive because she has had this double whammy of she has attracted all of the attention positively, but has not gotten her name written down. Because that's the thing that we don't talk about really that often is you do want to make it to the end of the game, but you also do want attention on you throughout the game. Like you need people talking about you. You need your name to be in conversations. You need people to be starting to get aware of what you're doing in the game because otherwise you're going to be sitting there at the end having to run everybody through everything. Imagine that. It's like that guy that just tells you about how hard of a workout he just had. Like, bro, I'm not trying to hear about this. Like, if I come up to you and I tell you, bro, you look really strong. What do you do to work out? That's what I want. That's what I want. I want somebody to be like seeking that out. Like, Rachel, how did you do this? How did you get to the end without a threat? I don't want to. I don't want you. I don't want to say like, well, actually, so what you guys didn't see was I was no every time I was on the right side. That's people go to the end of the game and they always say this. I was on the right side of the votes every time, and I did this, blah blah blah. I made this move, blah blah. Blah. Like, bro, it's like, dude, okay, like, we just get this over with because you're not winning the game. Like, you're definitely not going to win. It just gets old when people say the same thing about being on the right side of the votes. And so you want to attract attention as the game goes on. And
Mm,
that's something that she's done very well. That I don't know if Andy or any of the other players have done quite as efficient.
interesting. So you're saying it's not good enough to just get to the end. which makes sense.
No, I mean, and like never, ever, never. And that's like if anybody that will play in the future that might be hearing this, maybe Nick, maybe Greg, like it just it will not even fulfill you. You will literally not even be fulfilled if you don't just play the game the way that you feel like you need to play it, like the way that you feel like it should be played. Because making it to the end of the game is so hard. I'm not saying it's easy, or else I would have done it, and I would be in a house that I do own actually. But like literally, dude, it's half the battle. What you did to get there is obviously the bigger part of it. And this is gonna be a very interesting finale, like 2 week little deal tomorrow and next week, because we're in a position where, dude, if Stu pulled it out, I don't like. I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be like shocked. We're in a position where everybody has a real chance, depending on how this end game goes and how they play their advantages that we have just seen, just kind of been stockpiled, saved up to this point.
Yeah. You kind of answered one of my questions I was going to ask you about like, is it like, would you rather make it to the final three, get no votes, but hey, you made a couple extra $1,000, like, or would you rather be swinging for the fences at 5 and 6 and go out earlier? Like, because it sounds like to me, you're like, hey, make those big moves, play the game. If you go out 5 and 6, at least you went down in a blaze of glory. But to me, it's like if you make it to final three, even if it wasn't good enough, that's still a big achievement. But
Yeah, not really though.
yeah, I guess the argument against that is, who would people like, especially in the new era, who are the people's favorite players? It's Jesse. Well, he didn't make it to final three. It's Carson. He didn't make it to final three. It's these people that played a crazy game but got cut down at the very end.
Honestly, I think people go out there and they worry a lot about like what's gonna happen, like how people are gonna perceive them. They worry about like I want to look like I was trying really hard, bro. F looking like you're trying hard. Yo, just try hard, bro. Like
Mhm.
just actually try hard. I'm not trying to go to the Olympics. If I get flown all the way out to go to the Olympics, that's cool. I'm an Olympian. Cool. I'm a Survivor player. Awesome. I'm not trying to, bro. If I'm not trying to just get in the. I'm not trying to go to the final to lose in the final. Like
Yeah.
so it's like easy for me to say that, obviously. The couple extra thousand or whatever, like, dude, literally, like, that's not even, I'm not even gonna, that, this literally, that couldn't matter any less. It's about, you were given this opportunity, right? To go out and have this once in a lifetime opportunity. People always talk about going back and returning and all that BS. Like, you're, the best players are the ones that play the first time like they're playing for their second time. You do not get two chances at this. Like people, like some people will pretty soon here, obviously, but it doesn't matter. Like that doesn't it. You do not get a second chance. You do not get to come out and do this again. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and the more that you treat it like that, the more fun that you're gonna have out there. And so to answer your question, like I can literally say from experience, I was in the majority group and didn't want to go out that way. I didn't want to go down to 5 or 6 and then duke it out at 5 or 6. That didn't sound fun to me. That didn't sound like something that I thought people back home would want to watch. That didn't sound like something I thought Jeff Probst would want to sit there and watch. So I would say like it's so much more important um as a player to just respect the game, respect the opportunity that you've been given, and go all out and like work your butt off to try. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if it works or not. It won't half the time. If you're trying to make something happen, though, that already sets you ahead of like the way most people get out, the way that most people are.
Yeah, that's a great point because from a viewer perspective, it's not fun to watch. If people are just sitting there and being rolled over, like it's way more fun when we're swinging for the fence.
Yeah,
So
it's
I,
fun. It's fun when you're in the bigger group of it, right? Like it's fun when you're in the big group and you're like, oh, okay, dude, top 10, top 9 of Survivor, top 8 of Survivor, top 7. But like, does it really matter at the end of the day? Like, no, it does not, bro. Like people come up to me and like they couldn't care less if I got 7th or if I got 18th. I didn't win the game. That's just how it goes. Like that's the first question I get asked. Did you win? No,
mhm.
I
Okay,
didn't. But I got 7th. No, but I got 7th. And like obviously we know like that's like that's late in the game. Cool, like whatever. But bro,
awesome.
listen, like listen, like at the like I'm not personally, I'm just a competitive person. I'm not playing to say I got seventh. I'm not doing that. Like, and I don't think anybody should play to say they got blank blank place. Nobody should be doing that. Like ever.
Yeah.
I think this is why for the first, okay, because I had not really been enjoying Andy because he left me such a bad taste in my mouth after that first episode, right? I was having a really hard time getting over it. The whiners, I just can't stand that. But this super surprised me because he was exactly in spot to go out fifth or to get fifth place. Like, yay for Andy, right?
Yep.
And so doing this move, he left his comfortable spot to potentially blow up everything and lose everything, or put himself in a fantastic spot to actually be in the final three and to be able to say that he's got the best moves and things like that. And so it's super risky. And I don't know if he was doing it just for the sake of making a big move, or if he was doing it to, realizing that this is his chance to now
Yeah.
actually win the game. But
When we
it's
like
super exciting.
what I love about Andy is that everybody is a genius and everybody has hindsight 2020 when they make a move or something that works out
Sure.
for them. And like they knew this was gonna happen and they knew this and like they were already informed about this and most of the time it's just not true, right? Like this is what people saying. You just want to sound like you were in the know. And he's been teasing this and like talking about this and had his pulse on the game for weeks now. There was that one scene I remember where he was like acting like he was explaining how like it was a couple episodes ago. He was explaining his strategy to people. Everybody thinks I'm like dumb, and then he was just like basically narrating everything that was happening. Like that was to me one of the most impressive things that you could show is that like it's like I love analogies if you couldn't tell. Man, it's like I wrote a number on the back of my hand, right? Or I wrote a number on a piece of paper and put it in my pocket. And then I told you, bro, I could like guess what like I like actually don't love that analogy. But anyways, he's just let's just scrap that analogy. But the proof is in the pudding, and he's backing up what he's saying. He's giving you evidence, he's giving you proof. And so that's what I really like about him. That I think is a big problem with a lot of players is a lot of players they just are not good, especially at the end of the game, at admitting I didn't really know what was going on all the time, but here I am. They can't do that as often, so I really like that.
Yeah, I think up until this point, the issue might have been that, Andy, he's narrating these things in the confessional, but are the people out there really seeing it? And now I think his timing is working out really well, where now it's like, okay, I can take how I've already had my hand on this game. Now I can take it and have it be known. Like this is a move that can show that I've been knowing what's going on. I know where all of
Yeah,
y'all are voting tonight, that kind of
absolutely.
thing.
It's important, man. Listen, the way it's important to stand your ground and let people know that you got them. You got them. Like you need to tell people I got you. Like you are out because I am better than you. But you need to do it in a nice way. You need
Mm,
to do it in a kind way.
yeah. So
So
overall,
somehow showing that they're still awesome, but yeah, but I got you.
Like you got, dude. It's like, dude, you're a big guy. You're really strong. You look great, dude. You freaking have huge muscles. But I can, I could bench more than you, bro. But like,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah,
dude,
yeah.
you're still super strong. That's exactly what it's like.
No, that's a great analogy. I love that.
Thanks,
I was just gonna ask, like, overall, what did you think of Operation Italy? Because personally, I was literally jumping up and down when this move hit because I thought it was so genius. I thought one of the best moves of the new era, which that's not really a hot take, but I thought it was extremely entertaining. I loved it. I loved this episode.
I love this move because what there was a lot of ways that it just could have gone wrong, and there was just like what I loved about it was it was so freaking easy to just do the split. It was so easy. Why not? Why not just do the split? Like, and then once we do the split, then we can just choose Sam or Genevieve, and we can call it a night. We can just choose whichever one we want. Bro, it was so easy. And seven between 7 and 6, dude, now you're really starting to get down to the numbers. Now you're like, dude, now we're really in the end of the game. And you're not really often thinking about back home like this is gonna be fun to watch. This is gonna be entertaining. This is gonna rise my stock. You're just like, dude, I really hope it's not me tonight. Oh my gosh, there's 7 people left. Oh, I really just want to get to 6 people. If I get to 6 people, I'll make a big. I can make a big move at 6 people. I can make a big move at 5 people. I just have to get there. Not that there was none of that going on, right? There was none of that going on. Sam and Genevieve did it. Will that I think that was what I liked about the move the most, right? Was obviously Andy was the pivotal piece in the whole thing. He created the whole thing. He's the only reason it worked. But the way Sam and Genevieve went about it, fantastic work by them. Because this is an easy position as well for them that know are there on the bottom to say, dude, Andy, listen, I know he's trying to help us out, but frick it, dude. We need to go tell him that he's trying to work with us and try to make something happen here. I'm gonna go like none of that was going on. They hunkered down, grabbed the fake idol, started going to work together, like perfectly to the point where it. I mean, with the fake idol, I thought Teeny was gonna sniff out that it's fake immediately. No, it worked.
I
It worked
know.
perfectly.
Yep.
I love this move because this late in the game, you're tired, you're hungry, you just want to go home, to be honest, but you know that there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
And you're stepping up to the plate in the 10th inning. People are not taking it as big swings. They took a big swing. And, like, this is proof. This is living proof that they don't all hit. But when they hit, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. It really came down to Sam taking Genevieve and Andy on that reward. And I know hindsight is 2020 Monday quarterbacking. Like it ended up being the right move for Sam. But personally, I don't know why Teeny was so mad that she didn't get taken on the reward because Genevieve and Andy were the only two people that were going to possibly work with Sam. No matter what, Teeny was not going to work with Sam, no matter how much she wants to go back to the beach
She
and
would have
say,
lied, though. She would have lied on the reward and said that she would.
yeah. So I think in the moment and later, it was a good move for him to take those two.
I mean, that with food especially, bro. Like, I went on a reward with 8 people left, and it didn't amount to. Jesse came with us, didn't amount to anything. Like, he was never gonna work with us. Like, never. Actually, cooked me up really bad. Like, I knew, like those get emotional, like the family letters and all this stuff. People get really entitled. They don't really start using. They don't really use like evaluation of themselves until. And what I mean by that is like obviously Teeny, right? It's like, okay, well, there's no way Sam's picking me because I've tried to get him out of this game. He knows I don't want him in this game. So he's not going to give me that power. Dude, if a girl turns me down, I'm not going to keep texting her, bro. I'm not going to give her that power. It's not happening. Like that. But unfortunately, the later you get in the game, especially with family letters on the line, I actually got my own family letters. They are so helpful, so emotional. It really just does something to you to where you could have your closest ally and you guys made a pact earlier in the game. Hey, if we get a family reward, I'm not taking you because I don't want people to know we're super close. Deal, bro. Bet. Happens, piss at each other. We'll vote each other off. Like, this is the stakes, and that's why they include things like this. That's why I love these rewards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was the moment, I told you already that I hadn't really liked Andy up to this point. I had really liked Teeny. I thought her personality was just fun. She just seemed to be nice. This one, man, like she just seemed like just bitter and jealous. Like, oh, I can't stand Sam because he's so good looking and athletic and nice. What the heck, Teeny?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, no
He's out
offense,
the window,
it just
bro.
seemed like she just was so young and just so immature, like making fun of this guy for no reason. And all he's done was be awesome.
In front of the people she's
know?
trying to work with and will potentially be on the jury, maybe voting for her. Like,
Oh.
I just thought it was a bad look.
She says
Yeah,
she says to them, why wouldn't he take me? Somebody he might have been able to convince. And I'm going, why in the world are you telling them that they would have tried to flip you and you might have actually done it? Like they're the ones that you
Yeah.
would have flipped on. Like this didn't it didn't make a
It's a
lick of
lapse.
sense
It's
to
a
me.
lapse in judgment. It's a flawed moment. It's like the stakes get higher and the pressure gets put on, and people start to get really they start to lose that conviction that they once had. They start to lose that that killer mindset of I'm here to win this game over a freaking sandwich, over some pizza, bro. Like
Is it
start to
so
lose it.
is it forgivable? Like is it forgivable what Teeny did because because of the high emotions of losing the letters from home and all of that?
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
just
Also,
emotions are
like it
just
may
so
never get back
high?
to him. Like it may never get back to him, right? It's absolutely forgivable. Like in the grand scheme of, and that's why I think like viewers should like take into consideration more often. Obviously, the way that things are portrayed is for a reason. It's to inflict feelings like emotion in the viewers, but viewers need to be more aware of like the stakes, right? Situation is day 22 or is day 21, day 22, 21 in a 26-day game. You've been through so much already. You're at the final push, and in what is essentially a popularity decision, you're not picked. You're one of a small group of people that's not picked. By the way, 3 people go, 4 people don't. Well, if it was a group of 100 people and you weren't picked in something, that okay, whatever, fine. Like me and 97 other people. Well, dude, again, playing basketball, if I'm with 7 people and 3 are getting picked for something, 2 other ones are getting picked for something, I better be one of the 2. Because if I'm in the 4 that aren't, dude, I'm a little bit hurt. Because now it's personal. You looked at my face and saw that. That's the problem here.
Yeah.
It gets smaller, the stakes are higher, more emotions come out. You saw what happened with Liz with Applebee's. Come on, man. Like,
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Hey, so the other thing about this is, right, from the production standpoint, not very often do we get to see behind all the scenes of how this is coming together, right? I was telling Nick earlier that this made me think so much that Operation Italy, the last time we saw this where they took us play by play of how this could come to be, it was Operation Blindside. Do
yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? When
Well, I don't know what you're talking about because I wasn't a part of it. So I actually don't know what was in that plan. I actually didn't get to read that one.
so so you were part of the plan because you were the fall guy,
I was
right?
the fall guy. Sure
And
was.
and that was what was funny is as Jesse's taking us through all of those steps, right? And he's like, okay, next step, have a fall guy. And then here comes Sammy that's gonna take the blame for I can't even remember how it was that you were the fall guy, but either you were the one that they were telling Noelle was saying her name or you were gonna be the backup vote or something like that.
Yeah,
But
I was. They
um,
told Noelle I was saying her name, and I was also the fall guy for writing Carla's name down.
yeah.
It's a good movie though, Fall Guy, so it's okay. If I could be like Ryan Gosling, dude, I'll take it, bro.
You don't mind being that fall guy?
I don't mind being that Fall Guy. So,
So
if,
when you're in the moment and you're there and this huge plan is going on behind your back, what goes through your mind? Okay, let me ask it this way. When you watch that episode back, right? Because it's the one before you went out, right? So when
yeah,
you're watching that back, you had no idea of all this stuff that was happening. Is
no,
that
I was actually really excited for that episode to come out because, like, not to sound cocky, but before that, I felt like I knew everything that was happening and I saw the conversations. But I was
yeah.
excited because I was like, dude, this is the first time I actually had no clue what was going on. I had no idea what was going on. And so when you're watching it, it's for me, it was fun. I liked what I thought it was funny. I thought it was fun. I was like, geez, bro, here we go. With that being said, I still like was hurt. Like
Yeah.
you watch it and it sucks. Like it really sucks
Yeah.
to see you like they just like running circles around you. And that's part of why so much emotion goes into the game is people know that you're gonna have to watch it back. Because like first of all, you do this huge big thing that you've been dreaming of doing, so emotional, so hard, so defeating, and you have to watch it in a lens that is probably not gonna be through the one that you remember it as. It's through the lens of the big overall story. And
Yeah.
so it's hard because you you were doing you were doing what you thought was best for you with the information that you had at that time. And then you have to watch, like, especially in this case, a whole plan be laid out with you, like either me, like being, obviously like being a part of the plan as like the idiot or whatever, or the plan is just against you and that's how you got voted out. You don't want to get voted out that way, guys. Like, you don't want to get voted out at all, but like, you really don't want it to be through a freaking huge strategic big long plan. You'd rather have it just be, at least me personally, I'd rather just be like voted out because unanimously you're just too good. I don't
Mm,
want it to be because somebody flipped or like some BS like that, dude.
interesting. Well, in closing, we saw Jesse make his moves. His threat rose. He got taken out.
Uh,
Andy is making his moves, and Sammy thinks he's gonna win.
I do. I really do. I think he's in a good position. I mean, Jesse got taken out by a fire, right? Like,
Yeah.
let's. I mean, come on. That is going to be Andy's biggest battle is this fire. I genuinely don't think he should sit next to Rachel. I think it'd be a terrible decision. But I think he gets to the end of this game, he wins it. Unfortunately, if Rachel or Genevieve gets to the end of the game, I also think that either of them win it. If Rachel gets to the end of this game, dude, never been more confident in my life.
Yeah.
Hey, that's why I'm gonna take Rachel at this very moment. I would love to see a Rachel, Genevieve, Andy final three. That would be. I just want to see a
I wouldn't want to see
competitive.
that. Rachel's winning that 7-1, bro. I would be terrible.
But it would at least feel a bit more competitive. I mean, I guess we don't know what happens in these next
Sue
few
will be in the
episodes.
final three, but you know.
Yeah.
I agree. I think I wrote down 2 weeks ago. I think I said Rachel, Andy, and Sue was my prediction for a final three, and that was a few weeks ago. And it could
And
still.
and you will not win that. I'll tell you
No,
that.
he won't.
Greg, you
That's
have a comment?
Well, I was just gonna say, because right now, if we look at it, it's like it's the 3-3,
Yeah.
supposedly, right?
I
But
think it's 2-1-3.
but these three how and very likely, right? But still, these three have all they've got the two idols, they've got the block of vote. And so even though the momentum is on the other side right now, I mean, I just can't see a world where Rachel, Teeny, Sue go out this episode, right? Because they're going to use all of the weapons they have and they take
Yeah.
out whichever one of those three don't have immunity, right? But I still don't see it being Andy. So I still see it being Sam or Genevieve as being the one that they're going to think is the biggest threat,
Yeah.
which
Which we know
that
is not
means,
true, obviously. So it's interesting. They're
yeah,
on borrowed time though,
sure.
and they're like, I hate to say that, I don't want to say they're the easy vote, but they're the easy vote, right?
But
Like
that's how I see Andy making it to fire making at least minimally, right? Because then he's in the top five, and you're just one more vote away from making it into the at least fire making, and that's how
and
I
the
can
beauty
see
of this
him.
game is that we don't just go vote. I mean, we got immunity. Sam or
Sure.
Genevieve wins immunity,
yeah.
and things get like seemingly easy on one side of let's just vote whoever doesn't win it between the two. But I don't know. Things could really start to get funky. I'm excited, bro. I'm
I
excited to
know
see what
because
It is
also
exciting.
they still have their fake idol, Genevieve. They've created this confusion with the fake idol now because it's like
Yeah.
why did she play
Yeah.
it?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. I'm super
We'll see what
excited.
happens.
Sammy, thank you so much for hopping on. Will we be
Yes, sir.
seeing you in Survivor 50, sir?
Um, who knows?
Who
Who
knows?
knows?
Is the
Who
pre-gaming
knows?
is the pre-gaming happening just in case?
But the pregame is happening around the community, man. It's been ridiculous. Listen, man, I'm excited. I'm excited to see the people that get to have that opportunity, the people that go out and compete on this big season. Um, if I'm not out there with them, then they're just lucky I'm not out there.
I like it. I like it.
Dude, I gotta buy my own house, dude. I got to.
Heck yeah.
But
Well,
also,
Sammy,
like,
you got two fans right here if you make
I
it there.
appreciate
So
that, man. Well, I'll rattle off like two things for you guys that the viewers that you guys probably like. Jeff Probst is cool in real life, super cool, super great dude. He cusses like a sailor so often, so much.
I've heard
I
that.
actually thought it was hilarious personally because I have a really bit of a bad potty mouth myself. Um, So he's great. The challenges are freaking actually so hard. Obviously, that's why I didn't win one. Whatever. Tribal can take all the way up to an hour and some change. It's so long, so long. Like that you're on these little stools and they're so uncomfortable. You actually start to lose like feeling in your butt and your like legs after a while. Um, and kind of going back to what I was saying earlier about like the way that you treat people matters. The reason that that matters is because that's most of the game. Like you're out there doing nothing most of the time, getting to know people, bonding with people, finding what makes them click, finding what makes them upset, finding what they're missing on their life, finding what they're here to gain. That's when the game really happens. It doesn't happen at tribal or at challenges or when you play an idol and all this. It's when you're empathizing with somebody because they lost somebody in their life, or they're finding out about themselves, or they're finding out that this is really hard and they need a friend. That's when the game really happens. And as awesome and as beautiful as that sounds, and as awesome as it is, it's also so freaking boring sometimes, bro. Oh my gosh, man. But thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you
You're
so
the
much.
man. Thank you.
Well, just to wrap up the YouTube video, please, YouTube, do not let this flop. Share, comment, like, all the good stuff. Thank you so much, Sammy, for hopping on. We will be recapping the part one of the finale next week. Thank you so much for listening.